All right, everyone. So welcome back to another episode of Dao Talks with Shifu Zhou Xuan Yun. Myself, Sam, your host, Michael, and today we have a special guest, Carl Donaldson. He's a Qigong teacher in the greater Boston, Arlington area. Carl, you self-described a country boy from Ohio. Do you want to get into some of your background and how you found Qigong and healing?
Yeah, so thank you for inviting me. I'm more than happy and, honored to be here. So as I was saying, I'm just, a country boy from this real small hick coal miners town called Blair, Ohio on the Ohio River. Borders West Virginia and kind of Pennsylvania. Southeastern Ohio, they generally call the Valley area. And, like most kids my age, during that time, everybody wanted to be Bruce Lee. Enter the Dragon. And so I went out and I tried to find a place to learn martial arts. And there was this place in Wheeling, West Virginia that had this karate studio. It was Ishinru karate. Yeah. And I started doing that. And then when I went away to college, I met this gentleman, Master Christopher Miner, who was an amazing Wing Chun professor. He was really, really good at Wing Chun. So I started studying Wing Chun and Tai Chi with him. And, I just started practicing every day, and then he got me involved in the tournament world where I was doing fighting and, non-contact fighting in tournaments, and was pretty successful at that. And as time went on, I started teaching on military bases, women's self-defense classes, and to some degree, a small amount of the military police. But I stayed up with Wing Chun for the most part because I was more of an external fighting type person. I really wasn't intern. And I really wasn't into the internal portion of the art. I was one of those athletic jocks who wanted to compete, always wanted to compete. And I thought that doing in karate, doing katas, and then in kung fu doing forms, it was just too docile for me. I was one of those persons that liked that personal, like that competitive contact. And I had several times they said, hey, look, you should get more involved in the internal arts, humble yourself, get to know yourself, all these things, But I was this cocky, arrogant, insecure kid who just wanted to fight and beat up everybody and, bring home trophies. And then, people were asking me to start teaching, but there just really wasn't any money in it. I started having kids. And so I had to get a real job, And so I became an insurance professional, but I continued to practice for myself. I continued to do some of the meditations, some of the forms then, because I wasn't really into fighting anybody, but I still had my ego going strong. And then I became a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
And, being a criminal lawyer, there's a lot of stress and everything. And so I would use Tai Chi a lot. Very little Qigong because I really wasn't all that strong in it. But I would use Tai Chi a lot to just kind of like calm myself and bring myself to balance because there was just so much toxicity in the court, in the legal profession, in the courtrooms and all that stuff. And then at some point, I decided I didn't want to practice law anymore. And so I needed to do something. I needed some way to make money to take care of myself and my family. So I started becoming a personal trainer. And there's this person I met. We were really, really cool friends. And she said to me, you should check out acupuncture. And I said, yeah, maybe I should. And I went to NISA back in 2012, went into that school, fell in love with the smell of moxa. And that was it. I said, I'm going to do this. But I was a little intimidated, right? I didn't think that I could do the science classes. So I start off taking one science class a semester just to see if I could do it, because I didn't know anything about science, right? So, I was taking physics and chemistry and all those things. One semester at a time, I would take one, because, I just knew that trying to do them all at once would be overwhelming for me. So I just took one class a semester, took my time. While I was doing that, I took a Qigong class with Professor He, and fell in love with the way he was teaching it. And I wanted to go deeper, so I started searching for other teachers, and I ran into a woman by the name of Ian Kuhn. She teaches Tai Chi, Qigong. And I just started really studying with her, at a really, really deep level. I started off with therapeutic Qigong. And then we started doing other forms of Qigong. And I continued, I just felt that Qigong was continuously calling me and bringing me deeper into the art. And I started searching because I knew there was so much more deeper. One seminar that Professor Kuhn had at her school, there was a young man who came from China, and he was a master of medical Qigong, and he couldn't speak any English. So I asked him, I asked her to ask him, so how do you, what is medical Qigong? And he said, deep meditation, right? And that was good enough for me. So I start, searching and searching and searching. And I found a gentleman by the name of Jerry Allen Johnson, who has a school, but he really wasn't teaching it. He had other people teaching some of his schools. So I enrolled in one of his programs. And from that point forward, I just started studying with Three Treasures Healing, got involved in their school program, did the clinical practitioner thing, which is a year long. And then another year you have to, if you want to be a clinical therapist, then you do that for a year. You study being in clinical therapy for a year, and then there's a master's program. So I finished the master's program, which dealt with chi emission and cancer issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now I'm finishing this year my PhD program in medical Qigong through Three Treasures Healing. And my focus is on dealing with major depressive disorders, and how the ancient Daoists viewed major depression disorders and how they treated them and how they approached them. And so my little side angle is how to treat someone without medicine. And when I say medicine, I'm talking about pharmaceuticals. I'm not talking about herbs. And so I teach Tai Chi, I teach Qigong. My heart is in teaching Qigong. I love teaching Tai Chi. Everybody wants to learn Tai Chi, but nobody really wants to. It's like everybody wants to learn Tai Chi, but they don't really want to do the work that it takes to become a Tai Chi practitioner. Because like I say, I tell my students, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's cool. Yeah, it's very, very amazing, it's very, very good. And Carl, it's very, very nice to meet you, you have very nice ground. Everything is amazing, it's very, very nice. So, with this show, I'm very, very happy you are a lawyer, So for me, maybe today we can change, talking a little bit of politics. What do you guys think? Because he's a lawyer. It's also, you still have the problem. like Black Lives Matter. For me, I'm Asian, and I just moved here like 10 years, but usually I don't really care about the politics, So, but this year, later will shock me, like a lot of stuff happened. I said, whoa, we should talk a little bit of politics, What do you guys think?
I'm fine with talking about it, but it's talking about race, politics, and the law.
Yeah.
You really have to understand the historical context that all of those three major issues bring to the discussion, because you can't talk about with respect to Black people, you can't talk about each one in a vacuum all by themselves. Okay, you kind of have to put them all on the table and understand that, slavery and selling of souls of Black people was the law, and it was codified in a lot of different places. And
yes, we're not talking about like a that, like a very, very basic. We just talk like a probably, like me, we not really talking about. Of course, we can talk in the stories this year. The guy called Brian Taylor, he's killed by the police. Yeah, all the protests from here. Then, it's a lot of stuff happened for a lot of ancient people. For me, like wondering, like, yes, the place, you can do that. You guys protect us. Wherever the people have a problem, you don't have the right to kill one and put in the ground. It's my opinion. Of course, it's not right. But for my opinion, that guy, this is totally the police girl as a killer. He's supposed to go to jail. It's for us opinion. But
so, let me ask you this question then.
Okay.
How do you talk about Yin and Yang theory without discussing the 5 elements?
Yin Yang. Out of the 5, what means Yin Yang? We're not talking about the politics, not like talking about the Yin Yang and the 5 out of 5 elements. The Yin Yang never come out of 5 elements. Always 5 elements with Yin Yang always together, always right. Important.
That's the point. That's the point that I'm making. You cannot talk about Breonna Taylor. You can't talk about George Floyd without talking about the law.
Yes.
They're always together.
Always together.
That's the point that I'm making. So you can't talk about wood without talking about earth.
Yes, fire. We have to all talk about this. Yes, this is the meaning. We have to talk about this. But the yin yang, we first talk about the yin yang, just the bigger one. That's for me. It's a very interesting stuff. It's why the ancient people come to U.S. You're a lawyer. A lot of ancient people, rich people come to here, poor people come to here. Of course, where they come to the country, where the people come to U.S. Everybody, illegal come to the country. Wherever that means the country good. That's human. But the country not good, nobody come to the country. Yeah. This is the country good. What's the stuff? This is the law. For the ancient people come to the country, it's a constitution. Rich people, they can constitution can protect your money. When you go over, you have a lot of money. Some country, they can take in your money anytime. The leaders not like you, they can put in your jail, take your money. But the U.S. not like that. They have a constitution.
Well, yes, it is like that.
Huh?
Yes, it is like that. It's just done.
Yes, like that. Yeah.
It is like America is like that. It's just done differently. For example.
Yes.
Let me give you an example.
I agree. As all the countries have the problem, all like that. But wherever the people all come to this country. Okay, Michael.
Okay, so for example, Barack Obama, right? He's the president of the United States, black man. All right. He gave his first speech. A white state representative from South Carolina called him a liar. It's just unheard of. Unheard of. But he could do that. Why? because he was black and he knew that no one would call him on it. Okay? So, no. Did he take his money? No. But he took something that was more valuable. He took his integrity.
Mm.
And when you take someone's integrity, then it doesn't matter how much money they have.
Oh, goodness. Wow. That's like, I don't know why. But for us, maybe we are the small human. We know really like understand about the politics, but we look at the outside, look at the US as a safe country. We just go to the country, For us, the Constitution, I can make my religion, protesting is free, protest is free, speech is free, everything's free.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, I mean, we just saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before, a peaceful protest in Kentucky. 87 people were arrested and charged with felonies. So that means that they have a permanent criminal record. And in the state of Kentucky, because they peacefully protested, they actually took away those people's vote. So they can't vote in the next election because they were out peacefully protesting.
Right.
So, like, I don't want to dish on the country, but like, that's the truth.
Right, but then you compare and contrast that, and I understand what you're saying. You compare and contrast that with if you protest in other countries. I'm going to talk about anyone in particular. You can lose your life.
Yes, true.
Okay. They will kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to. They may not kill you right there. Like some places, they may not kill you right there, but they will follow you home and they will take you out. Right. So yeah. This guy can't vote. Yeah, this guy can't breathe air anymore. Right? And so, what you're saying is true. You come to America, it's a little bit more civilized in terms of your right to life and some of the other things, right? The rule of thumb, the rule of whatever monarchy, the rule of society or culture is not as harsh as it may be in Pakistan or as it may be in Afghanistan or South Africa or Dominican Republic or Brazil, right? And that's why everybody wants to come here, because not only on top of that, you can make some money. And even if you can't make some money, there's some level of government assistance that you can get just for sustenance. And on top of that, you do get a free education. A basic free education, although it's not all that great, but it's better than not being able to read and write. Like I know some fantastic baseball players from Dominican Republic, 70-80% of those guys that play in the major leagues, they can't sign their name. They couldn't even sign the contract that they wrote. They don't even know what the words mean on those white pieces of paper. So yeah, coming to America, it's a good thing, but it's not, the Constitution is only as good as how much money you have in your pocket and the color of your skin. It's not how much money you have in your pocket. It's the money in your pocket and the color of your skin. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if you don't have any money in your pocket, regardless of your color, depending on the access that you have, you may be also able to get a break. But that's pretty much universal, right? No matter what government it is, if you have access to somebody who does have access.
Access.
But the Constitution is a lie.
Well, I think when we talk about the Constitution, we have to remember that in the original Constitution of 1776, or maybe it was after 17, that was the Declaration, but
that's when they did
200 plus years ago. Most people that currently live in America, most people would not have been able to vote. They were not considered, a person based on that. So, if we talk about like well over half the country was not being talked about in that constitution. It was a very small group. Unfortunately, it was really just white men that they were talking about. And not even just white men, aristocratic white men. So white men with money and access and the education to be able to do those things. So that's what it was originally put into place. And I think it's kind of in some ways, people coming to America and having those expectations, in some ways, I think pushes America, when you talk about the ability to protest and maybe not get followed home like you might in some other countries, even though it's not perfect, like in some ways that ability has been maintained by people saying, look at what you said. These are your own words. You have to follow your own words. And that's what we see a lot of right now with the protests is you say everybody created equal, you have to follow that. And there's that expectation that I think, in some areas, maybe isn't even here. We complain about the hypocrisy. Other places, there's no hypocrisy. There might just be, dictatorship and I don't know what you'd call it. But we definitely have to look at that and say the context. It's not just the Constitution. It's also the context. And there's a big body of work historically through civil rights movements over time that have allowed that that image to be cast all over the world, that America is a place that you can come and make money and you can be free and do all these things. Like that image wouldn't be there if it wasn't for people risking their lives in some of these protests, whether it's, recently or it was in 1960 or, just throughout American history. Like these things are people really risk their lives in order to improve the situation, or else how are you going to, we just don't have anything without that. And I think that's one thing that I do hear, and I don't mean to criticize anyone because I was born here. I don't know what it's like to have come to the US. But I would say that I think that's one thing that's maybe gets missed when people come here is that it looks like on face value, it looks like America is what it is and has been what it has been. Instead of it is what it is right now, and every single little privilege or every scrap of equality, every small amount of improvement that we have is kind of on the backs of a lot of people risking life and limb for it to constantly protect it. And a lot of those folks, like if you look historically, like a lot of the civil rights movements, even though they affect multiple races, have been led by Black men and women, because those folks have probably borne the biggest brunt in some ways, in American history.
Wow. Yeah, I hear Samuel, like you guys say it's so complicated. You live in the US. It's very complicated. Huh?
Yeah, it is.
But it's also everyone is not too bad. Look, you have a school. You don't have anything happened. Everybody thinks so complicated. I don't know what happened. So for us, for ancient people, for other country, look, US is perfect. It's perfect for us living. We just live in here, do what I do. It's cool. I pay the tax. Okay, I make money. It's you guys like I don't know. Maybe ancient people are too simple. Ancient people come to this country too simple. They just know how to work, make money. Maybe like just do that. They're not thinking about it too deeply. Of course, sometimes it's my opinion. People always want to do fair.
Okay.
The world does not have really fair. Of course, we want to make more fair. Sometimes we want to make fair, equal, and free. What's free? What's equal? What's fair? There's a problem. If we think deeply, it's my opinion. I like a simple life. Okay, everything I like is simple. If you think everything is so complicated, how about for me? I always think about how to influence me. Okay, I don't care about how to say. Yes, there's how much trouble. Look at that. We talking about that. Like some by the company make the vaccine that kill people. Do that. Want to make money. If you think it's like too much, we no need to leave it. But we have a look at the big one, probably not big one. So how about the country? Of course, that for us, for Chinese people, they also always think how to work hard, how to make money, how to like a student, how to like study hard, got a good school, then got a good job, then good for family. That's the Asian people. Always think like that.
Okay, so
yeah.
Let me ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Asian people, you say they come here, right? Not every Asian person can come here.
Of course.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Only the elites have the money and the wherewithal to get here. It's the same thing here in America. Not every person from America can go to China, can go to India. It's only the elites who have the money and the wherewithal to do it. Okay? So, to say that an Asian person from Tibet, or you say a person from the, just from any province, pick one, poor, very, very poor, they can't come here unless they sell their soul to some crooked person, and then they come over here and they get in here illegally, right?
I think this is like a small piece. What's it called? Of course, the world have rich people, have poor people. The poor people, you think the poor people are supposed to give the money, let poor people come to the country, or the U.S. open the door for everybody come to the country? Well, for us, we know, okay, you open the country, all the poor people come to the country. How do you feed the country? Look, I just like have one bread. Okay. Of course, I have to protect my family first. It's protect the country. I'm not someone like, okay, I just one bread, everybody have peace, everybody die.
If that's the case, but if that's the case, I mean, but you have to understand that America was built on the concept that everybody is welcome. Everybody. Give us your tired, give us your poor, right? That's what that Lady Liberty stands for. Give us your tired, give us your poor, give us your sick. Okay? We want your poor, we want your sick. How do I feel about that? Yes, that's Lady Liberty. Give us your downtrodden. Okay? That's what Lady Liberty stands for. Lady Liberty doesn't stand for, hey, bring over the person with the most money and let him step over all the poor and the downtrodden people. That's not what America is built on. And if it was, then the people who came here and, the pilgrims who washed up on these shores, then the natives should have said, no, get out of here.
Okay. I understand you. Okay. Everybody's supposed to welcome to this country. The country is a country. They're supposed to protect the country. You say terrorists, everybody can come to the country. How well can have the money give the people? All the people come to the country will have the job. They have a job, have money. Everybody have a romantic, like communism. We suppose all like brother. Everybody equal. Look at what communism, the country. What do you think? That's right.
Everybody's not equal in China. Everybody's not equal in China.
Yes. Whatever is not have equal, not have fair.
Communism.
Because you was everybody so okay. It's for me very, very interesting. You said, okay, the lady standing there is supposed to welcome poor, rich, everybody come to the country. Yes, come to the country. It's sad, but there's a country. The supposed still the who first was protect who in the country and feed do the country great, then they can help another people. Now we call it if you don't have enough money, you don't have anything, how to help another people? Everybody can say.
How do they?
The first thing is you do good job, then you can welcome.
How do they get to it? How do the people who got their money? Where do they get it from? They get it.
How do they get their money? Okay, that's the country. How to make the country rich? How to make money? How to go work? How to push people work? That's why
I think one thing that maybe is an intermediary to what you're both talking about, because what I'm hearing is a different concept of what a country should be, and I think that's something that's influenced by where we grew up and some other things. I know for myself, Carl, you talk about the Statue of Liberty. Shufu, I don't know if you've ever heard this because you didn't, go to elementary school here, but when we go to elementary as a little kid, they say, I think on the Statue of Liberty, it's something like, give us your poor, you're tired, you're weak, you're hungry, wretched souls yearning to be set free or something like that. My great-grandfather came here he stowed away in the basement of a ship. And he ate nothing but potatoes for like a month coming over. He came from, he was German, but he came from Colombia. So he came to the US. He jumped out as soon as he saw the Statue of Liberty and started swimming. And so like the irony is that, you know, like that statue that says that we want you're poor, you're weak, you're tired, yearning to be set free. And he came here, set himself free because they were shooting at him and chased him when he actually got to shore because they didn't want him here because he was poor. He must not have been that tired, eat all the potatoes. But anyways, stories aside, I think one thing that it's important to keep in mind is that not only does the U.S. Say like, you know, like we want everybody to be equal and stuff like that, because of course, like she was saying, like communism also says that people should be equal, but they don't live up to their ideals. So, you know, we see that. But I think in the US's case, it's a natural human idea, I think, to see someone that has a lot of power and expect that person with power to be more generous and more responsible than somebody who doesn't. And I think in the world, because we're a global society now, right? So America is not just limited to, you know, the Florida, you know, like Florida down here in Alaska. Like it's not just that limit. Actually, America, if you look at the military, we have people all over the world. America actually gets imports from all over the world. It gets money, it gets labor essentially from all over the world. Different people from all these places contribute to what people in America end up enjoying as far as food, as far as shelter, and money. So I think in that sense that sometimes I think as an American, we start to think, I hear what you're saying, but I think we also have to think about is, you know, if we have some place that, you know, America directly benefits from. So like, for example, Mexico, like we directly benefit from goods, from labor, from that country, but we still, you know, kind of treat it poorly. And then when people want to come here because we've destabilized, and maybe Mexico is not the best example there, but we destabilize a South American dictatorship and there's civil war for 50 years. You know, people want to come to America because they don't want to deal with the Civil War. I think in that sense, America has to be a little more, you know, responsible when we talk about people being able to come here. But I think to what you're saying as well, we also have to be thinking about how does America, like, if Shiva, what you're saying is, you know, correct, like, how does America service its own people? You know, we talk about the police shootings, we talk about a lot of the issues that we protest, but if, you know, we use current events, police shootings, we have to talk about how we really do take care of those people. Because, you know, like if we're talking about keeping the money in the country or, you know, making sure that we keep together and care for our own people, that should apply to all of our people.
Except for the black ones.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point of the Black Lives Matter movement. And that's why it's not all lives matter, because, you know, like...
Only for mother, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought like that. You know, it's like we suppose like all life matter. Also, you know, we hope like make everything like a bit. Of course, everybody hope the country make everything little bit fair for people and equal.
Yeah.
For people. So you know, everybody hope like that, but it's not the. But you know, the people they have talent, no talent, poor, rich. You know, of course, for the noise is very very sad in all the world. If you're poor, you want to be rich, so difficult. You know, we are work class. You to middle class, very easy. The middle class, the middle, go to the higher class, very very difficult. You know, as everybody know that. You know, so, if you get food, it's easy. But how to make this a little bit like a fear for the poor people? You know, it's the problem. You know, of course, the first thing is for me is education. You know. Because the U.S., the education, everywhere the education, no fair for the people, you know. And then the government also, you know, some government, just like you said, they have very, very rich. They have a lot of money. So that's, of course, sometimes for me, I feel the government, they just want to protect their team, their money, and no one to protect the poor people. No one to protect the someone from another country. They just like a team. They want to protect their team. Oh, I'm feeling like that. I don't know you guys the feeling. So how either in just like you say, the police officer, the salary very very high, like $400,000 a year. Like
for the highest paid officers in Boston, 400,000 plus a year.
This is fucking like crazy, Of course, the police is a hard job. Every year have like a few police officers killed by the crime. Yes, it's a dangerous job, but it's like too high. Not people work for the Dunkin' Donuts, work somewhere. How much money? Like each year, like $20,000. How many over these people? It's not fair. It's the government supposed to make a little bit fair, like the salary, everything make a little bit fair. It's in US, someone like that, someone like that. This is a big problem. This is the US. Also the education, it's for me, what's the education is, before I live in Daoist, everybody know the Daoist, Everybody like a lot, either way, we're supposed to help them, supposed to go, but everybody scared go to the Daoist some area because there are a lot of shooting. People kill people. It's a lot. People scared. Everybody scared. Well, putting more police officers go there, like a safe area, make the area safe. Everybody not afraid, but they don't care. This is the bigger problem. Not the education. We say, they just, give more money for the teacher in the poor area, Okay. The teacher, most of the teacher, they just look at the salary. Yeah, they have very, very good salary. And good they teach. They not think about really take care of the kids. How about it's for me, I not hurt the teacher. But in China, it's like that. I grew up in a village, most of the teacher, they all look for money because they don't have a job. They can go there teach, they can have money. This is a bigger problem. And the teacher, suppose you love the teacher, love the kids, then you'll be a teacher. To take care of the kids, you have love. How many teachers have love? This is the problem. They just want, the kids don't have trouble, it's good. Everything, peace is good. They don't really say, give the kids good education, take care of the kids. How about the school? The teacher, money, little bit least. The police office, money, little bit least. Please send money, hey, more teacher to the school, help the poor area, help the kids, help the parents. Of course, we call the first teacher as the parents. We say change one generation in the three generation. Why? The student and the kids always influence from parents. If the parents have a problem, the kids whatever have education, whatever the future because of the influence of parents. From parents also have problem. Then why not teach the parents, teach the kids? The kids getting good, then the kids getting good, then they can getting good. If the parents influence the parents not getting good, the kids not getting good, whole generation have a problem. This is the problem. It's my opinion. It's the education have a problem. In US, it's no free education. Look at the kids. Go to the college, they need to pay a lot of money. We not say black, of course, a lot of poor people, either Asian people, or they're thinking like that. Yeah. Why you go to school? They don't want the kids to go to school. Because to go to school, they have to pay money, And a lot of people think you have to take a loan. It's a lot of money. A lot of parents, if the kid's talent is smart, they can get with scholarship. If some kids not really care, they can get the scholarship. They don't have a good education, That's the education for me is very important. And the people really to think about how to help the poor area, poor people, This is my opinion.
So Shifu, I think you definitely made some good points there. And also, let's think about, I think one thing in America that we have to always think about is that even though maybe, especially coming here, you think, you see these areas and it's, poor and rich, and that's the divide. We have to also think about in America, why are some people more likely to end up poor than others? You talk about one generation, is equal to 3 generations, right?
Yes.
So like that, I think that's actually a really important point. And when we talk about something like, I don't know if you've heard this term, but intergenerational trauma. So one thing that, when we talk about the issue of policing in Black communities is that like if you talk about, yes, I agree that the kids will take after their parents. And if those parents are put in jail for a minor offense, then how are the kids supposed to survive? I taught in Dorchester in a level 3 public high school. There's 4 levels. 1 is the highest. 4 is the, about to get shut down. I taught at a level 3 school, and we had kids that, one parent's in jail, one parent is never around because they have to work so much just to afford food and groceries and everything like that. How is that kid going to get any parenting? So when we talk about this, it's the intersection. So I think in this case, it's the intersection of, you have over here, you have the family, and then you have the society, and they're not separate. They're right together. So we have to think about how do we nourish these communities and help them to grow. Like if we think about, we want to grow a plant, and we want to we plant something in the yard. It's one thing, if you go out there and you just beat back every caterpillar that fights there. That's what the police do, right? Their job, and even in an ideal world where there's no problems with policing and there's nothing to protest about, the police's job, if you're talking about this plant analogy, is to just fight all the caterpillars that want to eat the leaves or, chase away the birds. You have to still water it. You know what I mean? As a society, we have to be able to actually water these communities and in order to watch them grow. And I think that's, especially when we talk about the issue of race in America, we have a situation where instead of watering these communities and nourishing them, in many ways, they're kind of getting hit with, if they're getting watered at all, it's like a flash flood. It's, it's a thunderstorm, because you see these things. And for example, when I was a public city teacher, Fields Corner, Dorchester, you call the cop, there's 3 police officers in or around the building. There's police there. So ready to arrest somebody, ready to do whatever. If we had one time, we had a football game. The football kids get hurt all the time. We had a football game, a kid tears his ACL. We call the ambulance. The game ends. This is the beginning of the game. The game ends. We wait another hour, and there's still no ambulance. An hour and a half to take a kid to a hospital, but there's a cop there. So if we think about that's the hypocrisy. That's when I think when we start to complain about race as opposed to just poverty, is that we're not just talking about we're not just talking about people making money off other people. There's a sinister overtone to all of this. This has been going on in America for a long time, and even if people aren't conscious of it, they oftentimes keep doing it because of the way the system is set up. So I agree. Also, education, like you said, it's very important to have education. So when we have in Massachusetts some of the better private schools. I believe there's one in Medford, Mass, that recently got in trouble for this all the time. And there's actually a bill that's trying to get some traction right now. It's called the Crown Act, and it's trying to ban hair discrimination, because what happened is in these private schools, these girls are getting detention for wearing hairstyles that fit their actual hair. So wearing braids, for example, which make more sense for, curlier hair of African ancestry. And they're getting suspended in some cases for these things. So yes, we need more education, but they should be allowed to wear their hair in a way that's natural to them instead of changing it to match another race's hair. We don't need to go to these things. So I think, these things, absolutely education is important. So we need to create a space where we can allow people. It's already, like you said, it's already hard enough to go from not having a lot of money to middle class, and from middle class to being, wealthy or having a lot of money. It's already hard enough. We don't need to add another layer to that. And I think that's what all the protests right now are about, is it's stripping away those extra layers. It's stripping away that deliberate attempt of one group to maintain power at the expense of other groups. In some way, I think, to finish that point, in some way, it's very short-sighted to think that way, because in much the same way that in the body, we have our 5 elements, we have our 5 organs, we have our whole system is made to work together. I think all of humankind needs balance. And I think
all the humans.